Congressman Swalwell, welcome back to The Issue Is, and congrats on the new book.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
All right, so first off, what is your response to John Bolton? His basic point, Democrats screwed up impeachment. They didn't do it in a bipartisan way. And if they would have done it in a bipartisan way, he probably would have been a part of it. What do you say?
He's wrong. The title of his book is In the Room Where It Happened. He was nowhere near, sadly, the room where it happened. The room where it happened is where I sat and listened to people like Marie Yovanovitch, Fiona Hill, Lieutenant Colonel Vindman give sworn testimony by raising their right hand, going under oath, and speaking truth to power. He's like the firefighter that shows up after the building is burned to rubble and ashes, waving his fire hose around and saying, "Hey guys, I've got this." Well, it's a little too late. Thanks for trying. We really needed you, and you didn't show up.
He brings up several new incidents in his book, including some incidents with China, suggesting that the president was giving aid potentially contingent on China helping with future elections. Do you think anything that Bolton raises in his book is potentially impeachable going forward, and do you think you should subpoena him going forward?
Well, the president is impeached forever, and now it's really on voters at the ballot box if they want him removed to do that. I hope they do. But we can't ignore what Bolton has alleged. It fits the pattern of corruption that we've seen with this president. So we are reviewing it right now, and I know Chairman Schiff, an LA area member of Congress, is going to make that decision soon.
Let's talk about your book, which I'm sure you'd rather talk about than John Bolton's book, right? It's called Endgame.
Well, my book is a tribute to the heroes, and I don't count him as one of them.
What is the most surprising thing that we learn about impeachment from reading your book?
Well, it was really that on the inside of the administration, when we were wondering for years, as kids were being put in cages, families were being separated, and relationships across the world were being frayed, whether there were really any patriots inside who would step up and speak out. And to hear the stories of the people that came forward and how their stories encouraged others to come forward, I think should make all of us, really grateful for, who serves this country in public service, behind the scenes, the faces we don't necessarily see. And if they can risk their lives and livelihood to do that, we all can take a few hours and register ourselves to vote and make sure that we all show up at the ballot box in November.
One of the points that Bolton makes is that impeachment actually made the president stronger because he got to see that he could get away with doing this sort of thing, and he may try to do it again in the future. How do you respond to that?
Well, the president was withholding $390 million in aid to Ukraine until we started the impeachment investigation. Once we started the investigation, Ukraine got the money. So while we did not remove the president, we stopped the corrupt scheme. And so what we learned was when you check the president, you can stop corruption. Second, we wanted to make sure future presidents did not see that the standard of conduct was lowered because we had not impeached Trump. We believed he was impeachment worthy. And third, we also thought that the evidence put us in such a position that if we did not act, he would only get worse.
Let's talk about the other big issue in America right now, of course, which is coronavirus, so important to your constituents here in California. You're now an advocate of a national mask mandate. But back in March, you actually tweeted out something different. We want to put this up on the screen. You put out this, "Stop wearing masks." Of course, that was a time when a lot of officials were telling people not to wear masks. But what was that about? And do you regret that early stage advice?
I do regret that I listened to the Surgeon General. The Surgeon General had a couple days before said to stop wearing masks. I listened to him. I wish I hadn't. And as soon as all the science showed that we should be wearing masks, I wanted to lead by example. And I think with COVID, we have evolved in our understanding of, what makes us so at risk and what we can do ourselves. And I think the best thing we can do as leaders is lead by example. If you say something that's wrong, own it, and then lead by example. So wear a mask. Keep 6 feet apart from others. Wash your hands. There's so much that we all can do to see this curve ultimately flattened.
Congress, the Democrats in the House passed legislation for more aid for coronavirus. It's sort of stalled right now in the Senate. This is one of those issues that matters so much to people, and they don't really want to see partisan squabbling on this issue because people's lives depend on it. What's a status update? Is something actually going to get done here?
It has to. We passed the HEROES Act already on the House side, which would reload the Paycheck Protection Plan, extend unemployment insurance to the end of the year, provide hazard pay for frontline workers. We need that to get a vote in the Senate and signed by the president. But to your point, it is so heartbreaking to receive text messages from my constituents who are asking me, will unemployment be extended, telling me that they're not going to be able to pay their rent and meet their bills and obligations. We have to do it, and I hope that both parties can reach an agreement before it expires at the end of this month.
On this show, we like to have a little bit of fun, and I got to ask you about the beard, because as a guy who's also has to shave every day and wear a suit, I'm a little jealous of your ability to pull this off. How is life different for you now in a beard, and was this your idea or your wife's idea?
No, and there was no shortage of razors, I wish I could say. You spend a couple weeks not having worked as a prosecutor, had to wear a suit all the time doing that, and in Congress the same. And so you get a couple weeks where you work from home, and I kind of just let it go. And I'm looking forward to shaving it because that means we're all back to work on a 9 to 5, set of normalcy.
So you got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old at home in quarantine, also trying to be a member of Congress at the same time. How is that working out for you? What's life like now?
Well, my wife also works full time, and so in the first couple of weeks, we did everything to try and block out the kids and keep them out of the Zooms and the WebEx interviews and the Skypes. And now it's just like the kids are going to crash the Zoom, 50% chance odds that's happening. So we're like most families. We want the kids to go back to school. We hope it's safe for them to do so. We'll adjust if not, but fake it till you make it is kind of the theme in our household.
Well, it's nice to see you so relaxed looking at home. We want to let everybody know about a special virtual event which is happening this Thursday at 7:30. Let's put some information up on the screen. You and Congressman Ted Lieu, who's a frequent guest here, will be talking about your book, a virtual event hosted by the iconic Romans bookstore in Pasadena. So people can log on and be a part of that event this upcoming week. And of course, we encourage them to buy the book as well. Good luck with the launch, Congressman. Great to see you.
Thank you so much. You too.